News Team, assemble!
Welcome to the Chieftain Report from Logan High School. Today is Thursday, January 12th. I'm Patrick Klinger.
And I'm Josh Vermillion. Today on the Chieftain Report, we have the weather with Abby Hughes, the announcements, and sports with Charmaine Wilcox.
As we all know, Martin Luther King was a huge inspiration to the civil rights movement. Now here's an interview with Mr. Meyer on his views on the subject.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federal holiday that was first celebrated in 1996 to commemorate the birthday and the achievements of the civil rights leader. It's celebrated each year on the third Monday of January. We interviewed social studies teacher Mr. Meyer to get his views on the late, great Dr. King. How do you feel Martin Luther King Jr. contributed to the civil rights movement?
I think Martin Luther King Jr.'s contribution to the civil rights movement was mainly in focal point leadership that the American people and that the world could center in on as an authoritative voice. By no means do I think that Dr. Martin Luther King was the civil rights movement, but it was definitely a time when he emerged in 1955 behind the Montgomery bus boycott, where the movement definitely needed a leader.
How do you feel the movement would have been different if Martin Luther King Jr. wouldn't have been involved?
Well, I don't know if somebody else would have come about to fill those shoes eventually or at some point. I think the key with Martin Luther King's leadership was that he was able to keep nonviolence, using civil disobedience, but was able to use nonviolence in a way that had to be present for the civil rights movement to be successful. If you notice, as soon as you saw the civil rights movement in the mid to late 60s get remotely violent in any way, the civil rights movement lost credibility, especially when you're trying to convince people not in the South, white America throughout the country on a national stage. You're trying to convince people that civil rights was the right thing to do. As soon as that movement went violent, you lost middle America.
What do you think Martin Luther King Jr.'s biggest accomplishment was?
I guess Martin Luther King's biggest accomplishment has to be in the way of the legislation that gets passed in 1964 and 1965. Whereas he's not a legislator, he couldn't do that. Without his leadership, without the peaceful March on Washington in 1963, without the events of Birmingham, Alabama in 1963, you would have never had a Congress and a president that would have come together to pass the Civil Rights Act in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Once voting rights, I think was probably the most important. If people don't have the right to go out and vote, politicians don't really listen to groups of people that can't vote, that can't express themselves at the ballot box, because politicians are really considered about re-election as their greatest force that plays into things. So once you have ballot accessibility in the South throughout the United States, African Americans' needs have to be looked at, and they have to be looked at as a group of people who matter.
Monday, take a moment to stop and think about how far we've come as a nation. Caleb Jones, TV2 News.
Thank you, Martin Luther King, for your tremendous contributions to American society. In other news, over the next few weeks, students from LHS will be building a robot that will be competing in events at a competition in Cleveland later this year.
Mr. Denny, I've heard about robot building in the school. And where does this funding come from?
Well, the majority of our funding is coming from JCPenney's in Lancaster. They're giving us about $6,500. The school board's also kicking in some money for us. We're hoping to expand out and get some donations from local businesses as well.
Very nice. Who all is involved in this robot building?
We have people from freshmen up to seniors. We have about 35, 40 students involved. A little bit of a cross-section of everyone from the school.
What are the school's goals in this experience?
Our goals? Well, one, for everybody to get some experience and some useful knowledge, and to win. We like to win. To win.
Good luck to everyone involved in this project. We're excited to see how it turns out.
My favorite word is exquisite.
My favorite word is indeed.
My favorite word is Ferrari.
My favorite word is cluster grew because it protects me from Jordan.
My favorite word is daddy. Daddy legs.
My favorite word is tumultuous. Look it up. Here's Abby Hughes, the Chieftain weather.
Good morning, Logan High School. Today is Thursday. Your high for today is 44 with a low of 23, and it's going to be partly sunny. Record high is 61, set back in 1950, and a record low of negative 12, set back in 1978. Now here's the rest of your 5-day forecast. Friday will be a high of 29 and a low of 20, showers. Sunday, a high of 29, a low of 18, partly sunny. Sunday, a high of 39, a low of 29, sunny. And Monday, a high of 44, a low of 26, also partly sunny. Abby Hughes, TV2 Weather.
Attention college-bound juniors and seniors. Today is the deadline for applying for the February 11th ACT test.
Any sophomore who wishes to attend Tri-County but did not complete an application during the visit should pick up an application from their counselor and turn it in as soon as possible.
Students planning to attend the Ohio State University next year, applications for the Moral Scholarship are due January 31st. Please don't procrastinate and wait until the last minute to turn your stuff in.
It's almost time to start registering for classes next year. Juniors will be meeting on Monday, January 23rd during first and second period. Sophomores will follow during second and third period. And freshmen will meet on Tuesday, January 24th during first period.
Students are reminded that next Tuesday is the beginning of the new semester, so don't forget to report to any new classes you may have. Now here's a TV2 PSA and Charmaine Wilcox with your Chieftain Sports.
Hey, Whitney.
Yes.
Would you like to go to a movie sometime?
No.
The Lady Chiefs traveled to Lancaster Tuesday night, hoping to turn around their losing streak against the Lady Gales. But with Jackie McLean on the bench and a torn ACL, with a torn ACL.
Ouch, that play hurt a lot.
Yeah, and she's a senior.
You don't ever get fully, I don't think. He's that tackle Jack Jefferson kind of back there. Here we go. Hey!
The Lady Chieftains traveled to Lancaster Tuesday night, hoping to turn around their losing streak against the Lady Gales. But with Jackie McLean on the bench with a torn ACL and Chloe Dietzel being sent home due to a fever of 102, it was hard for the ladies to keep up with the Gales. With a scoring spurt by Lancaster early in the game, the Chieftains dug themselves into a hole of 10 points. quickly. Brooke Simon stepped up her game with the 13 points to rid the Chiefs of the deficit. But it wasn't enough. The Chieftains traveled home with a loss, dropping their fourth straight with a score of 41-49. The boys' basketball team was also in action Tuesday night. The Athens Bulldogs hosted the Chiefs in a non-league TVC SEOAL matchup. Halftime ended with a score of 20-21. The Chieftains hit the ground running in the second half and more than doubled their first half efforts with 25 in the third quarter alone. Luke Miller ended the game with 19 points, 12 from behind the arc, as the Chiefs rolled past the Bulldogs with a score of 60-45, improving their record to 2-7. Charmaine Wilcox, TV2 Sports.
This has been Patrick Klinger
and Josh Vermillion saying you stay classy, Logan High School.
From TV2, The Deuce.
Quiet, please.
No, not ready. Almost.
Did you like the partly sunny?
Yeah.
It's positive. If I'm in a bad mood, I say partly cloudy. If I'm in a good mood, I say partly sunny because I'm more of an optimistic person on those days.